This is how we ride. This is how we do.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to sort of address and talk about a situation that has recently happened in the sprint car racing world. There was two incidents over the last week in a time span, Tuscarora 50 and then the prequel to the World of Outlaw race at Hanford, a 360 sprint car race where a driver did catch on fire. Of course, both of them were kind of different. One was involving a wreck that then bursted into a flame, and the other was a burst to a flame with a car coming to a stop and the driver getting out of the car. One was involving Caden Still and the other Dylan Cisney. The Cisney wreck, obviously, at Port Royal. Big crash into three. Caden Still's a little bit different in the 121 car out there in Hanford. Was during hot laps, and the car caught fire on the front straightaway. He pulled off the top of turn number 2, 1 and 2, kind of in the center there, on fire, and proceeded to jump out of the vehicle. I didn't get to speak to the people involved at the Port Royal incident, but I did get to speak to Peter Murphy, who obviously a relatively successful track promoter. A lot of things kind of played a factor in this Hanford wreck from me talking to Peter Murphy, and there was a lot of questioning around the handling of the Hanford incident and not too much questioning of the incident at Port Royal. Peter let me know that he's received several, bashing style text messages and messages telling him he should quit, find another job, basically do this and do that, and he needs better safety equipment. And let me just say something right off the bat. Some people ain't really doing a time lapse or timing the situation here, or where people were, or where cars stopped. So the situation with Dylan Cisney happened in turn 3. Obviously, in the video, you can see there is a fire safety personnel person right there on the wall of the Port Royal Speedway. And if you count the seconds, it takes around 10 to 11, 12 seconds from the moment of the car coming to a stop and on fire to the moment that a fire safety personnel individual can get there and start spraying. Now, with the Caden Still situation, I think people are being a little too harsh. Obviously, we see a car burst up in the flames, go into fire, and it's a real shocker, and every second slows down. And from what I saw, it took about 18 seconds for a fire safety personnel individual to get to Caden Still. 18 seconds from the moment the car stops to the moment he's getting sprayed. 11 seconds to 18 seconds. Talking about a 7-second difference here. 7, 8, maybe 10 seconds on the Cisney situation. That's a relative okay response. Now, in talking to Peter Murphy, he explained to me how he had 2 fire trucks, one on the back straightaway, one on the infield. Also had a quad in the infield, several other guys spread out, and some people are questioning his fire safety personnel that he has on hand. He explained to me how 4 of the guys are firefighters, and also for about the last 15 years, they've been heavily involved in racing and also work at other facilities. So I do think that some people are jumping the gun, because we do see a car burst into flames. We do see a driver jump out as fast as possible. Great job by Caden Still to get out like he did. And we do see a driver arrive on the scene quicker than the fire safety personnel. Now, in the quad's defense somewhat, it was in the infield on the back straightaway, and somewhat with Cisney, you can see it took 10 or 11 seconds with the car within 20 yards of somebody with an extinguisher to get to the car in 10 or 11 seconds, which is still a long time when you're on fire. The guy at Port Royal is waiting for cars to come to a stop before he even impedes onto the racetrack. So we're having a similar situation here where they were in hot laps full speed. This occurs, and we're trying to get a guy on a quad over there as quick as possible, because the quad's going to juice up quicker, take off quicker. Guy in the truck has to start it, go. So the quad guy got there first. Luckily, Caden was in a brand new 3-layer fire suit, and he did, luckily, only sustain second-degree burns, and luckily on his upper knees, above his knees, and around the ankles. Now, the reason for this fire is somewhat suspicious. We are hearing that there was somewhat a possibility of a fuel line either loose or broken, and that the fuel was actually spraying out for laps under that hot lap session before actually igniting. So there was a chance and an opportunity for this fuel to actually get into the fire suit and soak into certain areas of Kayden, and also other areas of the car, to where this fire looks insane. We also see how the color of the fire is red. People are like, well, methanol is clear. Well, what color does fire suit burn? What color do any items or things on the car or around the car burn? I mean, I'm sure that fire suits don't burn clear. I'm sure they burn a color as well. So there was just a lot of contributing factors in this situation to the way that it went and how it was handled. As far as fire suppression systems are concerned in major league sprint car racing, I don't understand why it wouldn't be an issue. I know some people are talking about costs. I know the good fire suppression systems that you're supposed to run, of course, Race Savers had a weight break for them for years. They're around the $1,200 to $1,700 mark, so it is an extra expense. But we see all these teams with, stacking up on tires and rims and all this other stuff. And if you got, $1,000 or $1,500 for a pretty wrap, you got $1,000 to $1,500 for a fire suppression system. Now, that's my thoughts on the situation. I think it's not a big deal if they do the fire suppression system as a mandate for World of Outlaw racing purposes and top major league sports. So it's only going to help. It's only going to make these situations detour quicker to where we don't get drivers burned at all. Like I said, the Port Royal example, if y'all want to hate Hanford for what they did in 18 seconds, Port Royal had a guy on the wall. It still took 10 or 11 seconds for them to get there. So it is a situation. It's hard to see. I'm sure the driver, every second's, an hour to him. And to us, watching it every second is an hour as well. But, these situations could potentially be prevented, and response times and all that could be, an afterthought if we did have these fire suppression systems in the race cars. I know a bunch of people, I've talked to them about it, and I'm sure there's some people like, F you, Chaz, you're an idiot, that I've talked to in person about it. But, hey, we got two great examples here, and unless you want to say, Illuminati runs the world and this was all pre-planned, I don't know. Sometimes I say, listen to the universe. It tells you what's right or wrong, and you got to make the right choices based on what the universe tells you. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're against the fire suppression system, we got two examples within a week of time where the universe is telling you, hey, it might be a good idea. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Leave yours in the description below. Glad to hear that Kayden and Sisney are both, operational fine. Kayden, young racer, 16 years old, out of Micros over there in California, already looking forward to the Trophy Cup. That might be when I get back over there on the west coast of things, you know what I'm saying. We'll see what happens. But anyways, check out some of the recent videos we put out. Be sure to like and subscribe here on this video and this channel. We got a lot of great content still to come. And I'm thinking 4 Crown is around the corner for the Chaz. So we may be seeing y'all there, and if you don't like what I'm saying here, you can tell me you don't like it to my face. Or if you're in Williams Grove and PA, I'll probably be making a swing over there, and you can say it there as well. And I'm not hating Port Royal or Hanford here. I'm simply saying, here's some time frames. Fire suppression system might help these time frames out. No situation where sprint cars are blowing up and catching fire is a situation that is going to be ideal. So, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
This is how we ride, this is how we do.